come up to see what trends are happening in marketing in general, and how do we become the person that's able to leverage these trends. I am so excited for you to hear today's featured conversation with Sean Cannell and Eric Sue, where you're going to hear a dynamic entrepreneur who really has the pulse on modern marketing. My name is Heather Torres, and you are listening to the Think Marketing Show, the #1 podcast to help you grow your influence with YouTube and turn that influence into a high profit and high impact online business. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. Make sure you subscribe, because every single Tuesday we are dropping a brand new fire episode just for you. You can subscribe wherever you're listening to this content on. And stick around to the end, because I'm going to share with you a class that I think is the next step for you if you have not figured out how to crush it on YouTube yet. Let's jump into today's featured conversation all about the trends of marketing.
Welcome back to the Think Marketing Podcast. I'm so fired up for this episode because we're going to be talking about marketing trends for 2021, as well as how you can level up this year and get more impact, not just in your business, but also in your life. Because I've got Eric Sue, the author of Leveling Up. Eric, how's it going?
Good to be here, Sean. Super happy, super great to see you healthy. We're both healthy, so no complaints, right? So.
For sure, man. Grateful for you, and love that you do so many cool things. You run an incredible agency. You got just an epic podcast, a couple different podcasts. You got different things going on, and you have your pulse majorly on what's happening in marketing as the host of Marketing School. And so, man, with 2020 being such an absolutely insane year, and a lot of people wondering, what should my plan be? How should I position? How should I pivot? What should I be paying attention to? What are some of the marketing trends that you think we should be paying attention to in 2021?
I'll tell you one thing. I'm taking my phone out right here, but do you have a Clubhouse account?
Man, I've been invited a couple times, and I've been so busy with YouTube, but I've heard so much about it, and I need to jump on that.
It's becoming a pretty big thing. So Andreessen Horowitz, which is a big VC firm, backed them. And Clubhouse is basically, we can start a room and just make whatever topic, and then people just join, and we can be nerding out like this, and then people be joining in. Maybe you can invite people in to have a conversation. It's almost like having off-the-cuff webinars. So what's interesting is I did my first room yesterday with a couple friends, a couple other entrepreneurs, and we had like 20, 30 people join, right? And we don't have any audience on there yet. But what's fascinating is we checked some other rooms, and it was like how to prepare for 2021 or something. You got 1,700 people in there just hanging out. That's like a big webinar in there, right? So my point is, Clubhouse, I think, is going to be a big deal. Twitter actually came out with it. It looks very similar. It's called Twitter Spaces. And all this centers around audio, right? You see Spotify buying up all these podcast companies, them making analytics better. So I think audio is kind of the meta trend, and then you have these, these apps that you can use, like Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse. That's one thing.
That's so interesting too, because I just joined a mastermind with a couple friends that's kind of like peer led, and they're like, how do you want to communicate? Voxer. And so they got me on Voxer. I got the Voxer premium. I started seeing that there was all this action going on Voxer, and audio is kind of the angle of Voxer as well.
Yeah, funny story. Voxer was actually a client of Single Grains, back in the day. But yeah, I think Voxer is a great example. I think Russell Brunson's mastermind does a good example. It does a good job with using Voxer. It's personal and it's easy, right? I think people in the room yesterday were just saying, like, it's a lot. We can do it off the cuff. We could be sitting on our bed or whatever. We don't have to prepare for video like this. Not that there's anything wrong with video.
Yeah, so powerful. What's the next trend?
A lot of SEOs are talking about GPT-3. I think I'm a little skeptical about it because, in one sense, because when marketers get their hands on something, they tend to pollute it. And GPT-3 is basically leveraging the power of AI to create copy at scale, right? So you can create headlines at scale and all that type of stuff. There's a tool called copy.ai, and there's another one called copysmith.ai, and they're all building very similar tools, right? But if it saves time in terms of coming up with captions for Instagram or headlines for YouTube, I'm all for it, right? I'm just hoping that it doesn't bring everyone to the same level. It just raises the bar to the next level. Everyone's there. So I'm hoping it's not the next version of article spinning 2.0, which is how people used to spam the internet in back in the old SEO days.
Man, so good. Number 3.
Number 3 is using mergers and acquisitions as a marketing channel, as a growth channel, right? So as an example, Single Grain is an agency I bought. It was a failing agency. The work we were doing was no longer working. And I bought the company for $2 out of pocket, right? And I negotiated, the rest was basically through, it was seller finance. And I had a contingency where if the company failed, I would owe nothing. Little did I know at that time, I was doing a version of mergers and acquisitions. But what I was actually acquiring was I was acquiring a website that had some good domain authority. I had, great employees on the team, and we had a base to build off of, right? So 1 + 1 = 4. And so the way I looked at it was, if I could, take the talent and then take the website and grow it, we're going to have a lot of leverage, right? So basically what we're able to do with that was say, okay, once we're able to turn the company around, let's take that cash flow and go and invest it in other stuff, which is largely what we've been able to do. That's one example. Another example would be, I was trying to buy this SEO company for a couple $1 million, and they had a customer base, okay? They also had great software that is a site with great domain authority. And they also had a great team, a great CTO that we can plug in. And we thought of it as, we can plug that team in with ClickFlow, which is our software. We can plug the customers into ClickFlow as well. And then we could take the website and then maybe we can build affiliate content if we want. And we're going to have all these other revenue streams, right? And the great news about M&A is it's not super complicated. You can basically, let's say the sale price of a company is $2 million. You can basically put 10% down in America, $200,000, right? And the rest can be financed by the SBA. And not enough people are taking advantage of this. And I think looking at this from a marketing perspective, a growth perspective, you don't need to think that you need to have a lot of money to do this. You don't.
And we're thinking a lot about that at Think Media, because we also realize we've built influence. So how could we also then potentially strategically acquire something and use our influence to growth hack it, because we already could point a lot of attention there. And really, really cool strategy. What is your take on the state of content marketing as far as trends going into the idea of not just 2021, but the feeling that, of course, more people are in the game than ever before. There's more crowds than ever before. And as a massive content creator yourself, as a business owner, as a leader, as one that is in the day-to-day operations, what is kind of your approach for winning as a content creator and for the trends you see?
I think the biggest thing you said was at the very end. I think in the beginning, maybe, I don't know, or not in the beginning, but a couple of years ago, I thought I had to be in the day-to-day. I think the key thing is, even you're a creator as well. I think it's the key for us as leaders is to get out of the day-to-day and do the highest leverage activity, which is actually creating content or doing deals. And I got this insight. I think it was always in the back of my mind. It's like, yeah, I should probably just create more content. But I was doing a podcast interview with this guy named Anthony Pompliano, and he's got great audiences kind of across the board, Twitter, YouTube, podcasts, and all that. And I was like, so what do you do all day? He's like, so all I do is I create content because, one of my jobs is to invest in companies. It helps with deal flow. I meet amazing people, and it helps me get leverage. And so I'm like, wow, yeah, that should be the only thing that I focus on besides doing deals. So the key thing was for me was hiring, whether it's GMs or CEOs for the businesses I'm running a day to day, while I sit at a strategic level and kind of jump in here and there where they need help.
Super, super smart. That's a high level of thinking, which really kind of tees us up into your new book called Leveling Up. And of course, we'll link it up in the show notes and the description and everywhere. You got to pick up a copy of this book. Give us kind of the 30,000 foot level of the book first. And I want to ask you about a couple of the strategies you recommend, because I know these are going to help us grow our businesses this year. But what's the vision behind Leveling Up?
Yeah, I think the whole idea is, when we play games growing up, did you play any games growing up?
Oh yeah, I mean, and now I have a son that's a couple months old, and so I haven't been. But I just finished Final Fantasy VII Remake, Red Dead Redemption 2. I've been crushing Ghost of Tsushima. And then you go back, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. But Final Fantasy is a great example when I think of leveling up.
Yeah. And how did you feel when you were playing those games?
Oh, I felt amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, the key thing here is you feel amazing. I mean, it brings you back to, for me, when I think about my childhood, it makes me think like a child, right? And I think that's one of the key things I have in the book is, you know, when you think like a child, you think like a beginner, and that keeps you curious. It keeps you wanting to grow more, right? So I think a lot of stuff around gaming, if you reframe real life into a game, it becomes much easier and it just becomes fun. And so when I wake up every day, and by the way, I think business is the ultimate game. I just have so much fun. I've recaptured that same feeling that I had growing up. So whether you play games or not, you can just say, you might say, Eric, I don't resonate with you. I didn't play games. Well, if you played sports or if you're into sports, same deal. Sports is a game. And you learn a lot of the stuff that you learn from, you know, playing video games or sports, vice versa. It's the same deal. You just got to look at life as a game, and it just becomes better, more fun.
Man, I love that. And you're absolutely right. Life, I think about, you know, I'm a runner, so I think about hitting like my next personal best, my next personal record on a certain distance, like a half marathon. Or in business, you hit a growth target, an amount of leads captured target, a profit, a revenue, all kinds of different targets. Well, there's so many amazing chapters and topics because you give us these levers for leveling up. But I wanted to just ask you about a couple of them that we could apply. One of them, level 6, is the apprentice mentality. What does that mean?
Yeah, the apprentice mentality is basically approaching everything from a growth mindset, right? Or an apprentice mindset. You can call it a beginner's mindset as well, whatever you want to call it. I think it's once you start to think you're an expert, once you start to think you're really good, you start to decay very quickly. You start to become arrogant and you start to become clouded with all these, you know, random thoughts, right? That do not help. But when I think about it, like even when I'm having conversations with you like this right now, I'm very much still learning, and I'm approaching it with, you know, I'm very much a naive person that's just trying to get better, right? When I approach it from that perspective, and I'm not coming off like from a, you know, a know-it-all cocky perspective, I just find that I build better relationships. I find that I'm much more open to things, and that in turn helps me compound my knowledge. I think when you close yourself off like an expert, you start to, I guess, decompound your interest.
Yeah, that's so good. And humility, right? I mean, pride comes before the fall. So kind of to stay a student, stay humble. And does this include even actually maybe finding different models and different apprentices in life? I think about Simon Sinek, who talks about, you know, worthy rivals, and that, you know, comparison will kill our joy, right? And potentially discourage us, but it is good to have worthy rivals. And I like to look with respect for competitors and be aware of what's happening in the spot. Like I'll learn from that. Yeah. Even in adjacent industries. Does this include that?
I mean, so that to me is competitiveness, and I'm a very competitive person. So I think there's a time and place for that. I think gaming does facilitate that. I think the apprentice model, you know, when let's say I'm mentoring someone, or let's say I have a mentor, the mentor is very much still learning from me. It kind of goes both ways. And the same thing is if I'm mentoring people too. I still have that apprentice mentality because I'm getting different perspective, and I'm probably out of touch with a lot of things that are now new.
Man, so powerful. Level 8 is alchemy. What does that even mean?
Yeah, so alchemy is, so I used to play, you know, World of Warcraft and EverQuest, and there's some certain classes that can create stuff from thin air, right? And, you know, when I think about alchemy, it's kind of the work that we're doing with marketing or sales. You're kind of creating stuff from thin air, right? It's the magic of being able to pull people to you. So when you think about your YouTube channel, Sean, you're pulling a lot of people to you, and then you're actually able to generate a sale. It's just like it's magic to me, right? You're doing it in real life. So I think it's very important to understand both sales and marketing. It doesn't matter if you are in any role at all, because every single day you're selling yourself. Like when you go out to somewhere and you're talking to your team members, you have to sell the vision, right? Or if you're talking to a prospect, you got to sell that as well. But if you want to bring people in, it's easier to market, and you have to play the long game, which is you know, put out content, get better at the content, and then just think for the long term, right? Compound over time, and eventually you'll get there.
And is alchemy, it is like the combination of different materials. If you were to talk about doing alchemy with a sword, is that accurate, or am I wrong there?
Yeah, no, that's right.
So in a way, it's also kind of like to really have an edge in 2021 and beyond. You maybe need to combine different things. There's a fascinating book called Range, which actually proposed that generalists will actually succeed over specialists in the new world, because you'd think that even maybe robots and AI can take over a very specific task. But when you're a generalist, in a way, if you're pulling in maybe pop culture meets understanding of design, meets understanding of copywriting, meets understanding of business and your end objective, meets understanding the customer. Whoever understands the customer or the viewer best wins. You need to do alchemy with all those things to potentially create a YouTube video, a sales funnel, a product. And this is kind of like the modern skill set of combining these different disciplines. Yes?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is really important too. It's very hard to find people in life that are able to connect the dots well. So, if you're a T-shaped, let's say, talking about a marketer, right? If you're a T-shaped marketer, let's say you go deep on SEO, but you understand the other nuances pretty well, you're able to connect the dots. Maybe if I do well in SEO over here, I can do something with YouTube and then, 1 + 1 = 4, right? Just like the example I gave earlier. Or you can talk about being able to combine, I don't know, let's say your social media prowess with, let's say, a customer data platform, whatever. You just combine the different things. That's my main point.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, I'm so excited for this book. There's another one, Level 13, Thievery. What an interesting chapter name and way to level up. So what do you mean by thievery?
Yeah, I think it was Steve Jobs that said everything in life is a remix. And I remember one of the, I won a championship when I was 13 years old. And basically this is called a best of the best, right? And for my class, I was playing a druid, right? So that was one of my classes. And, the character that I played. And whoever won would get the championship. You would be, known to everyone on the server, right? In the preliminaries, I was getting dominated by everybody. I was inferior in terms of strength, inferior in terms of equipment, until we got to the real matches. And because I got lucky with the timing, I saw one person that was really good, and I was like, oh, this person's moving around differently. This person's playing differently. And then I was like, oh, I think I can do better than that. And because I played a lot of Quake before, I played a lot of Half-Life, Counter-Strike, whatever. And so that person was just strafing around when they were fighting, right? The other people were just kind of standing still and fighting. So I was like, okay, I'll just copy that. And because I copied that person, I ended up winning the championship. But then that moment, I was like, oh, you know what? All I need to do is ethically copy people, copy things that make sense, and take it in for myself and just mold it into my own, right? And now a lot of people are, let's see, you start with AWS, right? And everyone's like, oh, Google's like, I want to do one too. Microsoft, like, let's do Azure, right? Everyone's copying Amazon. And everyone can say, everyone wants to be original and all that, but at the end of the day, we're all very much just kind of, iterating on the shoulders of giants, right? So my point here is that when I use the word thievery, you can steal ethically, right? Because again, there's a lot of inspiration from around you. Just steal ethically. Just make sure you give credit where it's due.
Man, that's one of my favorite tips. And I remember Steve Jobs, I saw a little video clip of him quoting Pablo Picasso that good artists copy, great artists steal. And he said, we've never been afraid of taking the best ideas. And I think what's exciting, there's the great book, Steal Like an Artist, of taking the best ideas. But where it really gets interesting is when you're pulling maybe from outside of your industry and into your industry. A friend of mine, Shalene Johnson, she holds world records for the most fitness DVDs sold. She's, the inventor of Pio and Turbo Jam and Turbo Kick. And back in the day, fitness workout DVDs that you would order on an infomercial were very like cut and dry, they were very professional. And she was watching TV and she saw there was like bloopers in certain videos or America's Funniest Home Videos. And she just thought, well, what if I put more of my personality, but what if we did we were way less serious? What if we're doing the serious workout, but we just put bloopers in it? That doesn't seem revolutionary today, but at the time, she saw an idea somewhere else, combined it with her industry and her niche, and really broke through with people who are like, man, this is much more real and much more relatable. And so I think it's kind of fascinating to potentially use ethical thievery by being maybe exposed to even other industries or even channels outside of your niche or other YouTube channels, and think about elements that you can combine. And you said it becomes a remix. Some of our favorite songs are a classic beat with a new bass line with some new lyrics and some different vocals. And so there's the old and the new kind of put together. And it ultimately becomes new when that is presented to the public. And it could be the very thing that helps someone break through in 2021.
talking about combining, so totally, right? If you start with an apprentice mindset, you're going to be learning a lot of things, and then that's going to give you ideas, and then you're going to be able to ethically steal the ones that make sense according to what you're doing.
Man, that's amazing. So, a lot of people listening, some people are more established. This has been some very practical things we can apply. You got to pick up the book, Leveling Up. It's out on Amazon. People can get it everywhere, yeah?
Yep.
And so check out the book, Eric Sue, Leveling Up. But if someone's just starting, because we have got some people in our community, right, that are kind of just getting into the game. Man, life's hit them potentially like a freight train. Their industry's been disrupted. They find themselves furloughed or working from home. They're trying to reinvent. They maybe want to create a business from home and build a life on their own terms so that they can spend more time with their kids or have more freedom. And, I'm not sure how long you've been in this, and maybe you could share a little bit of your story, but I think I've been trying to level up, learn, hustle on YouTube, build my side hustle, build a business for over a decade now, focused for the last 5 years. And it can be kind of overwhelming in today's landscape to think about being at that beginner stage in 2021. What's some advice when maybe you just take us a little bit back to your journey of the daunting thought of, man, how am I going to do this? How am I going to break through? Everybody else I'm comparing my beginning to other people's middle, and I feel like I don't even want to start. What's some advice you've learned for new entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of cliches here, right? We talk about fail forward. My favorite quote is from Winston Churchill: if you're going through hell, keep going. I think also reframing. The title of this is Think, right? I think people need to rethink how they approach pain. I think physical pain, yes, you don't want too much of that, right? But mental pain, that's kind of the prerequisite to get to the next level. You're going to have to go through certain levels of pain to reach the next level. And that's how you keep leveling up. And so understanding that, most people that have achieved, I would say the vast majority of people that have achieved success have gone through a lot of pain to get there. That's the ticket. And I think, I have a chapter in the book towards the end talking about the wealth ladder, which is from the CEO of ConvertKit. I think it's a great concept. The whole idea here is that, you go to school, and then the whole idea after that is you build great habits, and leveling up is certainly about getting the right power-ups, the right habits. And then afterwards, maybe you start working somewhere. Let's say you don't have a job anymore. Maybe the next step is maybe you can freelance for free, right? That's the easiest thing you can do with not a lot of cost to get going. That's why, even though I hate the traditional agency model, I think it's a beautiful way to say, hey, look, I don't have any experience right now. I'm just going to reach out to people I want to work with, and then a certain amount are going to say yes, and then maybe a month later, after they like the work, maybe I have them as clients, right? I think consulting is never going to go away. And then once you get to a certain level, you can start to think about hiring people. You can start to think about building an agency. And if you want to take it to the next level, you can reinvest those cash flows, go build a product, go build a network effects business if you want, or go build a SpaceX, right? But the whole idea here is you're also leveling up the cash flows, and you're leveling up the business model, because, this type of thing, sure, you can survive by doing consulting, but if you want to thrive, maybe you take it to an agency model. But if you truly want to grow beyond that, you're probably going to have to think about where else you want to invest the money. So that's what I would say. The other alternative is you can do drop shipping with e-commerce, collect the smaller margin. And if you want to take it one level higher, then you can start to hold inventory, and you can have a higher margin. And then you can take it one level further beyond that. You can just keep leveling up. There's just different stages for different businesses.
Eric Sue, he's dropping the Leveling Up Strategies. The new book is out now, and you want to go grab that. And thank you, Eric. You also got to check out his podcast, The Marketing School. What's the other podcast?
Leveling Up
podcast. And I love, I just want to acknowledge you and appreciate you adding value to our community today. Everything I've learned from you and your community, the event we got to do together was super fun. And just the way you think, man, iron sharpens iron, and being around you always makes me think bigger. Really, Eric, not to be cliche, but it levels me up. So I appreciate you. I'm excited about this book. And with as much uncertainty as there is in 2021, I think when we stay connected to good people like you, and we stay on kind of the cutting edge of what's happening, we can continue to have an edge in marketing and business.
For sure. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. And hope to catch up in real life soon.
Wow, I hope that you were taking notes during that podcast because Eric is on another level when it comes to understanding how to level up yourself and your business. He's such a dynamic entrepreneur who really has the pulse on what's happening. I don't know about you, but I have just discovered Clubhouse, like he said at the beginning, and I am obsessed with being on there, hearing and listening into the conversation. So, not that you need to jump out right now and start a brand new social media platform for your YouTube channel, but it's just good for us to every now and then come up and actually look at what's happening. What's the landscape? And as Eric said, audio is the up and coming. So just be thinking about how can you apply this to your YouTube channel? How can you go deeper with your own community? Or how can you tap into other markets who need what you have on YouTube? This is just for us as content creators to be aware of. I want you to stay focused and locked on growing your YouTube channel this year, but also remember that as you level yourself up, as you level your business up, as you outsource and as you grow your team, that these are things to be thinking about when it comes to how to get the information that you have out to your audience. And if you are really in those beginning stages of trying to figure out how to crush it on YouTube first before you go to those other platforms, then I want to encourage you that after you're done listening to this podcast, that you head over to our free 1-hour YouTube masterclass. You can get all the details right now at thinkmasterclass.com. This is a 1-hour class that's going to share with you the 3 secrets to YouTube success, how to win on YouTube this year, and what to avoid as a content creator. I know there is so much to learn when it comes to YouTube, and we've distilled a decade's worth of information into 1 hour for you to be able to go further faster on YouTube. So make sure that if you've not checked out that free masterclass, that is your next step here after the podcast. If you are loving this podcast, I want to encourage you also to go and rate and review the podcast on iTunes. If you're listening to this podcast right now on iTunes, then please make sure before you leave that you leave and rate and that you don't leave, that you rate and review this podcast. If you're listening on other podcasting platforms or over on YouTube, then grab your phone, pull up the iTunes app, and rate and review today's podcast. This not only just helps us get to more creators, but it also lets us see who's in our community, and it allows us to shout you out. And today's shout out goes to Savvy Eco Queen, and she wrote 5 stars. Thank you so much for rating us as 5 stars. She says, I love how Sean brings God into every episode. It helps keep me grounded as I grow in my mission. I try to only follow leaders who can do just this. He's funny and energetic, and not many can not many can show that through a podcast. Well, hey, Savvy Eco Queen, thank you so much for hearing our heart, for knowing that we really are on mission to help you grow on YouTube, but that we also aren't afraid to share who we are. You know, in a previous episode, Sean really talked about being your authentic self, and I'm so grateful that you saw that for us, that meant that family is important, that our faith is important, and that our community and our friends are so important, just like you. So thank you so much for leaving that review and for letting us know that you can see Sean's energetic and entertaining, that's a joke if you've not seen his first video, through the microphone here on the podcast. So thank you for rating and reviewing, and I can't wait to read all the other reviews on the podcast. Well, thank you so much for your time and for being here to listen to today's episode. Make sure that you are subscribed so that you get locked into next episode. It is a no miss. So make sure that you are ready for that episode with your pen and your paper, and you're ready to take notes because Sean is delivering some fire for our next episode. Thanks again for being here, and we'll catch you in the next podcast. Oh my God, are you all right? Your head is huge.
On my quantum being Nuts.com is a snacking utopia. We have supplier relationships from all over the world. I actually don't speak a lot of other languages, but Gemini and Google Meet translates everything live. It just kind of breaks through all those barriers. It's just magical.
The same old stage that brought me here, and it's soon gonna carry me away. I'm leaving on that Pine Valley stage. I'm leaving on that Pine Valley stage. The same old stage that brought me here, and soon gonna carry me away. Oh, darling, you can't love but one. Only one. Oh, darling, you can't love but one. Just one. You can't love but one and have any fun. Oh, darling, you can't love but one. Oh, darling, you can't love two. Oh, darling, you can't love two. You can't love two and your little heart be true. Oh, darling, you can't love two. I'm leaving on that Pine Valley stage. I'm leaving on that Pine Valley stage. The same old stage that brought me here, and it's soon gonna carry me away. Oh, darling, you can't love five. Darling, you can't love five. You can't love five and get money from my behind. Oh, darling, you can't love five. Oh, darling, remember what you said. Oh, darling, remember what you said. Remember what you said. You would rather see me dead than leaving on that Pine Valley stage. Thank you. We'll be on our way to tip you, ladies. You're living in an age of speed now. Rapid transit, we call it. You want to get out and stretch your legs, you better make it snappy. Get out, he says. Get out to stretch. Get out to drink. Get out to eat. Get out to transfer. Get out to... Man, the next time I get out, I'm going to stay out. That don't go for Manhattan. Here. Hey, you boys drifting?
Yeah.
We're waiting for the all round up. How'd you like to go to work for me?
Work? For you? You don't look like you could afford a new saddle.
Well, I can't now, but I will but tonight.
Fellas, this is Slim Pickens. He's going to inherit a big ranch up in Pine Valley. They're reading the will tonight over at Zeke Reynolds' place.
Yup. Well, I'll be doggone. The Zeke Reynolds place. You would be the last of the Reynolds heirs. What do you know about ranch?
Just think, Maddie. Me with a great, big, rambling ranch house, with a great, big screen porch. And that means no more dictation from the boss, and no more crowded horse cars, and no more bustling offices.
No more bright lights. No more pretty clothes. No more cafes. Old Zeke Reynolds must have been a hermit to live way out here. Out, out. Wait a minute. How about our jobs? Come on up to the ranch and we'll talk about it. they don't match.
Doggone right they don't match. And you call yourself a stagecoach driver. You ought to be back driving a freight wagon. As a matter of fact, I'll see that you are. I'll write the company. What's your name?
Rex Allen.
Remember that name, Maddie, and remind me to have him fired.
You can't fire us, we quit. Come on, Rex, here comes the stage driver.
Don't forget to write that letter, ma'am.
Manhattan. Oh, Maddie. You little angel.
Did I say angel? Between that ranch Miss Jackie's going to inherit and you, you're going to be the death of me yet.
Hi, Mr. Davis. How's the law business today?
Oh, picking up, son, picking up. I dropped by to tell you not to forget the will reading at the Reynolds place tonight.
Oh, we'll be there. Couldn't hardly forget us being the only heirs to Uncle Zeke's property.
The only heirs, oh, yeah. Yeah.
My father founded this town around his lumber mill. When he died, my brother and I took over. Pine Village was a thriving little community till the ranchers moved into the valley and got laws passed to keep us from cutting the timber. Naturally, that closed us down.
The ranches had to be protected against flash floods. They'd be washed out if all the trees were cut.
But how about the timbermen? With all that money standing idle on those mountainsides, they're all going broke.
Dan, this is Mr. Stocker of the Forestry Service.
I'm Carrie's brother.
Well, I guess you're the man I came to see. Your letter to the Forestry Service claiming you found evidence of bark beetle in the valley stirred up a lot of commotion in the department. What section of the valley did you find it in?
On Zeke Reynolds' property. Stocker, I'm afraid you'll have to condemn the whole valley.
But Dan, that would mean every tree in the valley would have to be cut down to prevent spreading the disease. Maybe we could open the mill again.
Well, that may be possible, Miss Hurley, if the trees are condemned. Only I just rode through that property on my way here, and I found no evidence of the disease.
Show him, Dan.
What does that look like?
Bark beetle.
It's a shame that all those beautiful trees are going to have to die.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. The trees the Forestry Service condemned for salvage last year on the western slope of the Rockies were diseased for 15 years. So if the beetle is on the Reynolds property, it'll take a long time before we have to condemn the forest. And with the progress we're making with tree surgery technique and blight-destroying solutions, the chances are by that time we'll be able to control the infection.
Well, that's good news, isn't it, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Did you come by yourself, Mr. Stalker?
Why, yes, the department felt that one man could handle the job all right.
Did you come through town?
No, your letter sounded too important. I came straight here from Denver. Why do you ask?
Well, I just thought you might be a little tired. I'll fix you a cup of tea while you two talk business.
You know, Stocker, it would mean a lot of money to all of us if we were allowed to open the mill. You can see the beetle has started to do its damage. You say yourself the service can't control the spreading of it. So why wait for years for them to die when we could cut them now and all of us share in the profits?
What do you mean, us?
Do they still pay you foresters $900 a year?
That's right. And I'm struggling along on it just fine. Earlier, when you had to close your mill down because a law was passed to stop you lumbermen from stripping the forest, it was done to protect the ranchers and their homes in the valley from flash floods.
I know all that, Stocker, but don't be a fool. My sister and myself were about to inherit the Reynolds property. 60,000 acres of the finest timber. What do you say? If you condemn all those trees, I'll cut you in for a third interest.
In a democracy, laws are passed for the benefit of the majority. And it's my duty as an American to see that those laws are carried out.
One number two.
No, just one, please.
I hope you'll forget what my brother just said.
Sure.
You really should be ashamed of yourself, Dan.
We all get carried away sometimes without thinking. Well, thank you for the tea, folks. Good day.
Now, as soon as it starts, get him out of here. Save the uniform for Dusty. We can't get this ring off. You'll have to cut it off with pliers.
I'll take care of that later.
You know, Dan, everything works out for the best. Now we don't have to cut anybody in those 60,000 acres Uncle Zeke left us.
Oh, Lucy. Steady now.
Oh, Maddie.
Well, this ain't what we visualized. Big rambling house with picture windows, but this place ain't even got a roof on it. Are you sure this is the right place?
Yep, you asked for the Zeke Reynolds place. This is it. And if you ask me, it's haunted.
Well, who's asking you?
Come on, Lucy, let's get out of here.
Maddie, it's just what I've dreamed of all my life. Just look at all this property. And look at those great, big, beautiful trees.
Manhattan sure gonna like it around here. Ow, ow, ow. But where's he gonna live, Miss Jackie? Look at that house.
Oh, Maddie, it's going to be fun. I was a little...
Spice deodorant. #1 aluminum-free brand.
Attention shoppers, want to spend less? Go to Aldi. They're #1 in everyday low prices.
Gonna help us fix it up? Oh, Miss Jackie, let me relax and get my courage back.
Maddie, did you hear that?
I ain't thief. And look, one of them ghosts must be smoking a big black cigar. I'm getting out of here, Miss Jackie.
Don't be silly. It's probably just smoke. Is you sure? I'm sure.
Something sure smells. Must be sulfur in that water.
Something on the other end.
Well, howdy doody, ladies.
Oh, it's you. And you. Both of you, get off of my property.
Your property? Well, I'm going to inherit this place myself tonight.
Inherit. Well, that's funny. The lawyer wrote me the same thing.
How are you related to Zeke Reynolds?
To tell you the truth, I never heard of him until I got the letter from the lawyer. Of course, he could have been a half-brother to my grandfather. Good gracious. That makes me related to that.
Just call me cousin.
How do you figure in this?
I don't. Slim works for me down in Texas on my ranch, and I came up here with him just to see that he gets a fair deal.
Not more relatives.
Those are not relatives. That's some boy Slim hired to work for him when he thought he was going to inherit the ranch all by himself. Stoke up the boiler so the ladies will have some hot water.
Sure enough, Rex.
Brother, look at them there. If they keep coming, we won't have enough room to flip a flapjack. Look at them hungry faces. What are we gonna feed them? I know what's gonna be on that menu tonight. Roast lamb and gravy. Thomas, Jackie, don't you like roast lamb and gravy?
Not for me. That poor little defenseless goat.
Defenseless, she said. Oh, I just borrowed to use when dinner was ready.
Yeah, and it's going right on that doggone goat. At least then he won't be sneaking up on nobody. Come here, you fugitive from a coyote trap.
Say, but ain't it peaceful out the dark?
Say, but ain't the moon is shining bright? Robin's in his nest and the countryside's afraid. Under Colorado stars. Well, just hear the crickets chiming out, and the restless herd is moving about. Shadows come and go while the western breezes blow under Colorado stars.
From far across the valley comes the lonesome cowboy song. He's waiting for the daybreak when he'll up and move along. We'll say but ain't it peaceful out tonight. Seems like all the world is feeling right. So you will agree it's the only place to be under Colorado stars. From far across the valley comes the lonesome cowboy song. He's waiting for the daybreak when he'll up and move along. We'll say but ain't it peaceful out tonight. Seems like all the world is feeling right.
Now you will agree
It's the only place to be under Colorado stars. Under Colorado
Hi there.
Good evening, folks.
I'm Lawyer Davis. You must be Joshua Pickens Jr.
No, I'm Rex Allen. This is Joshua.
Oh.
Howdy do.
Howdy. And you must be Jacqueline Reynolds.
That's right.
Hey, it looks like that fool lawyer got a party going on out here.
He must be crazy.
Good evening.
This is hardly the occasion for celebration, Lawyer Davis. What's the meaning of this? Who are all these people?
Well, two of them are co-heirs of Ezekiel Reynolds.
What do you mean? I thought we were the only heirs.
Easy, Dan.
This is Rex Allen. You make the introductions. I'll get the necessary papers. We'll get right down to business.
Sure. I don't cut in on this, but this is Jackie Reynolds.
How do you do?
At Aveeno Baby, our formulas moisturize to help prevent dry, itchy skin with the power of oats.
We have climbing gyms all over the country, so we use Google Meet to connect with our staff. The automated note-taking feature of Gemini has been really valuable. It saves me so much time. We're never going back.
Jackie Reynolds.
How do you do?
This is Mr. Joshua Pickens.
Howdy.
How do you do?
Now, if you'll all just step over here, please. Everyone I'm concerned, we get down to the business at hand. Make yourselves comfortable. There. Oh, yes, that's fine. Last will and testament of Ezekiel Reynolds, deceased. Know all by these presents, I, Ezekiel Reynolds, being of sane mind and sound disposition, do hereby will and bequeath all my worldly possessions to the following heirs. To Carrie and Daniel Hurley, in memory of their mother, a dear departed sister, 1/3 of my estate.
1/3?
1/3? To Jacqueline Reynolds, my grandniece, and last survivor to carry the Reynolds name, 1/3 of my estate. To Joshua Pickens, Jr., son of the benefactor who grub-staked me when I moved from Texas to Pine Village, 1/3 of my estate.
Oh, hi,
Just what are you claiming your dad did for Zeke Reynolds?
Boss said that Paul lent him $300.
Zeke paid him back, didn't he?
I don't know, I reckon so.
Just as I figured. It's a trick, Carrie.
Now, Dan.
I don't care. Our father gave Zeke Reynolds his start, made a rich man out of him.
I don't think that has anything to do with it. If old Zeke thought enough of Slim's dad to remember his son, it's perfectly legal.
Perfectly legal. This is none of your business. Keep your nose out of it. You think I'm going to stand by and see a big dumb ox get a third of this timber?
Now, don't go showing your bad side, Mr. Hurley.
I'll show you. Let me go. Hang on, good boys. So you still want to make this some of your business, huh?
Yes, I do.
You're mighty brave with all of these guys hanging on to me.
Let him go, boys.
Let's keep it clean.
Work on him, Rick! Stomp him, unhole him, and stomp him dry!
If there are going to be any lawsuits over this, why, you know where my office is. I'd be very glad to handle a case. Good night.
Go and wash up your mess. I'm sorry this had to happen. My brother has an unforgivable temper.
Yeah, I guess I did lose my head, Carrie.
You certainly did. You almost had it knocked off.
Well, you're the bright one. What are we going to do about it?
Well, we're certainly not going to fight with them. I'll be out here in the morning. All teachers and cleaners will buy our toddlers off cheap.
Shut up, here they come.
Maybe we won't have to buy them off. Good night, Slim. I'm sorry this all had to turn out this way.
Oh, that's all right. We're going to be one big happy family.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, I'm sure glad there's some meat left from supper.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Slim. Letting Rex fight all your battles.
Guess you think I'm a big carrot, Miss Jackie. But there's something I'll have to show you. Here, hold this. That's my mom.
No fooling.
She made me promise no matter what happened, I'd never fight. She said she'd always be watching over me to see that I didn't break my promise.
Well, I guess I understand, Slim.
Gee, thanks. I knew you would. You see, I gotta keep Mom happy. Here, Rex got your knife, and I'll split this with you.
Looks like you're gonna need it all, boy. What a goose egg. Here. Come on, get out of here.
What's wrong?
Come on, get out of here.
Come on, you crazy or something?
morning.
Morning.
I don't know what's so good about it.
I want to apologize for what happened last night. We were a little disappointed in not inheriting the whole estate. We wanted to preserve it in memory of our mother.
I understand. Carrie told us all about that. And all about the bark beetle.
It's just bad luck. It seems the place has brought them nothing but bad luck, Dan. The boiler blew up last night.
It sure did, and that's bad luck. But it's good luck that nobody got hurt. But it's sure bad luck what Miss Carrie says about them bark beetles chewing up all them trees that way. Why, by the time they finished chewing, the engines wouldn't even want that place. We've talked it over and we decided to sell.
That's fine.
Won't you come in and we'll make all the arrangements?
Yes, come in.
Morning, Matty.
Morning, Mr. Knight.
Having trouble?
Not yet. I ain't got started.
Where you heading?
Pine Village to load in some victuals.
Well, I better drive you in. That's quite a trip for a tenderfoot.
Tenderfeet, that ain't what bothered me since that stagecoach ride.
Yeah, Pat.
Oh, Mr. Hicks, there's something I forgot to tell you. Miss Jackie and Slim went into town with Miss Carrie.
With Miss Carrie, what for?
Well, she come out here this morning with a lot of bad news, and she was showing Miss Jackie where the bugs was eating all the trees on the place. Why, she talked about so many bugs, she got me itching.
Bugs eating up the trees. Well, they look plenty healthy to me.
Well, she said just as soon as the bugs eat up.
All right, Tom, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, Tom.
Step aside. Who put these in, Tom? Only Duracell has power boost ingredients. That's why winners like Tom here only run on Duracell.
Tom, are you okay? Why does everyone keep asking me that since the roast?
I gotta go. Gronk's down again.
Eat up all the trees around here, this property wouldn't be worth 2 cents. So I guess Miss Jackie and Slim decided to sell out while they could.
A smart operator like this Dan Hurley could get Slim to sell out for car fare back to Texas.
And I know Miss Jackie, she ain't no business ruler. You don't think they'd get cheated, do you?
Well, it could be.
Well, come on, man.
Hang on.
This is the bill of sale. I took the liberty of having it drawn up. I felt sure you'd see it our way.
Gosh, Miss Jackie, you better check it over. I didn't bring my spectacles with me.
Once Dendroctonus frontilis infects one tree, the whole forest done for.
Dendroctonus frontilis. You don't say.
Yes, it's a species Scolatidae epidom, commonly known as a bark beetle. Spreads like a forest fire. That's the reason we can only offer $2,000 for your share of the estate. The Reynolds trees are badly infected.
You see, we want to preserve as much as possible of the property as a memorial. Now, the $2,000 will be a small percentage of what it will cost us to fix it up as a public park.
Gosh, Miss Jackie, that ain't very much, but it sure don't look like the price will be going up none. What do you say?
$2,000. Let's take it.
I think you're smart.
I do too.
Carrie, fix the folks some tea.
By all means.
Sign right here.
Gosh, Miss Hurley, this sure smells good.
Just a minute.
What's the idea of busting in here like that, Alvin?
Sign outside says this is a business office. What do you sign?
It's a bill of sale for our share of the Reynolds place. Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah, we're getting $2,000 for it.
$2,000? Why, your share in the ranch is worth a lot more than that.
It won't be in a few months. The whole forest will be infected, and with the trees dead, erosion will set in, and flash floods will take care of the rest.
Mr. Allen doesn't know much about pine trees. He said there were just a few cottonwoods in his section of Texas.
Gee, Rex, $2,000. Why, I didn't know there was that much money in Colorado.
Slim, before you sell, I want to write a friend of mine in the Colorado Forestry Service and find out just how serious this bark beetle is.
Of course, if you want to take Mr. Allen's advice, it's your privilege. But in the meantime, we may be forced to withdraw our offer. Think it over.
I'm a-thinking.
Well, you'd never know it to look at you. Well?
I'm sorry, Miss Carey. We'll have to wait until Rex does get some more information.
In that case, we'll make arrangements to divide the property. I'll see Lawyer Davis about our third in the morning.
Oh, matter. But my underwear's bunched up on.
Well, I guess it looks like the end of a beautiful friendship.
Yeah, no sense in humor.
What are we going to do now, Carrie? That smart aleck Allen has stepped on my toes for the last time.
Now hold your temper, Dan. We'll find somewhere to take care of him.
Aye, is this?
And who are you addressing as sis?
It's Dusty, isn't it?
That's right, Brother Dan. Don't act so surprised, sis. You sent for me, didn't you? The last time I saw you, I was 10 years old. And I came up to about here. You whipped me then, but I don't think you can whip me now.
Now, boys, there'll be no trouble here.
Trouble. He's been nothing but trouble since the day he was born.
Yeah. Even then, I couldn't stomach a family of sanctimonious crooks.
And we've had to stomach your escapades ever since you ran away with that circus.
Yeah, we've spent a fortune getting you out of reformatories and jails, and from the looks of you, it'd be my guess you're running from the law right now.
Well, there was a little misunderstanding about some checks. How about handing over some of our lumber mill profits to take care of it?
The lumber mill's been closed for a long time, Dusty. But we're planning to open it again. That's why we sent for you.
This time we're asking you to do something for us. And there'll be some money in it for you, too.
What is it?
You're going to be a forest ranger, Dusty.
A forest ranger? Why, with my record, they wouldn't even let me wear the boots.
There's nobody in the village that remembers you as a Hurley.
We've got a uniform that'll fit you perfectly and all the necessary papers you'll need.
Yeah?
Where? We borrowed those from a ranger by the name of John Stocker.
This ring's broken.
That's so you can spread it and fit it to your finger, Dusty.
Did I say broken? It's been cut. Say, you two are pretty involved in this.
We have to be. We need money.
So now I'm John Stocker. What am I supposed to do?
You're going to condemn every tree in Pine Valley.
I hate to order you to cut down these fine trees, but once that bark beetle gets solidly established, why, they'll all be dead like that tree there.
That tree was killed by lightning 4 years ago.
Well, what I mean is the whole forest will be dead like that tree.
Well, if you say so, laws of...
Nuts.com is a snacking utopia. We have supplier relationships from all over the world. I actually don't speak a lot of other languages, but Gemini and Google Meet translates everything live. It just kind of breaks through all those barriers. It's just magical.
Too soft! Oh, too strong!
There, perfectly balanced.
Was allowed. I guess I'll survive the loss.
But what am I going to do with the trees after I cut them? Why don't you see Dan Hurley? Maybe he'll start up his old mill.
Here's your authorization to start cutting.
Thanks, Stocker. Thanks. Yeah, I'll see Dan Hurley.
I didn't invent this system, Bill. The government's been letting salvage contracts for years.
I know it, but our wood's too good to give away at your salvage price.
Why don't you take it someplace else?
We haven't got time. We need every man we can get to finish that cutting with the deadline that forestry man gave us.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. That's all I can afford to pay. Take it or leave it.
What else can you do?
It's robbery, that's what it is.
Sure, it's robbery. Bertie's got the only mill around here, so you got to accept his proposition.
Thank you, gentlemen. Here's 2 more orders, Dusty. The board fee will run into millions, and so will the money at the city prices.
If we're really going to clean up, Dan, we'll need that Reynolds timber. I'm going over and work on them.
In the meantime, I'll get the axes busy on the property we've already got tied up.
I hear you get this place for nothing. And Dan Hurley's offered you a salvage price for the lumber contract. What do you got to lose?
A lot of good grazing land. If those trees go and a few good rains, this place would be barren. Why, it'd affect every rancher in the valley. Why'd it prevent flash floods?
But I told you, Mr. Hurley has promised to dig contour ditches to control the watershed.
I don't think that'd do any good. I've been studying up on the seasonal rainfall.
Seasonal rainfall has nothing to do with diseased trees. Listen, Miss Reynolds, if you listen to this Allen fella and refuse to sell your lumber to Dan Hurley as salvage, I'll be forced to send a crew in here to do the cutting for you. Think it over. Either sell to Hurley or see your trees rotting on the ground.
Careless for a forest ranger. You know, folks, one of these little things can destroy a tree it took 100 years to grow. One tree will make 1 million matches, but one match can destroy 1 million trees.
What are we going to do, Rex? After all, he does have the authority to cut the trees down.
I don't know right now, but we're going to hold him off as long as we can. I sure wish I'd get an answer from my letter to the forestry department. Let's go to work, boys.
Well, Terry, Slim and that girl still won't scare. What are we going to do now?
Dusty, you going back there this afternoon?
I don't want to tangle with that Allen guy. When he gets an answer to the letter he wrote to the Forestry Service, why, he could blow this whole scheme up in our faces.
He's not going to get an answer to that letter. The weekly mail comes in today, and it's going to be delivered this afternoon.
Oh, man, stop blowing that whistle. I'm here.
Don't get too anxious, girlie. This ain't from your city slicker.
Well, it ain't very interesting.
No, it ain't like the one I just delivered to the widow Perkins. This is from the Office of the Forestry Service. It's for Mr. Allen.
Here, what are you doing reading other folks' mail? This is what Mr. Allen's been waiting for. He and the boys are building a fence back there. We're going to have a cattle ranch out. What's that?
That's only thunder. They'll be fixing fences in the rain. You folks are new to this country. If them clouds keep building up, I'd advise you to do what I'm doing. Head for high ground. Come on, Lucy. Pick him up and put him down.
What are you doing here, mister?
Come for that letter.
But your name ain't on this letter.
Forestry Department, isn't it?
How did you know that?
He asked me to pick it up. I said hand it over.
Well, if you pick it up, you get it from Mr. Allen, because I ain't going to give it to you.
Oh, yes, you
Oh, no, I ain't.
Little early to call dinner, isn't it?
Boy, it's never too early to feed this face.
Just wait till me.
take care of her, Flint. She's still alive.
Hey, one of you boys go get Doc Sawyer. I'm going to follow her. He may need some help. Take her inside. Give us a hand.
Hey, Terry, I had to shoot her. I did it for you, for this. You gotta cover me.
You idiot. I can't cover for you. You left your horse outside.
Bridget, you are a brilliant woman with two wonderful children. Embrace the chaos.
Going to die!
Not going to die. We're having fun.
Darling, you need to get back out there. Bridget Jones, always exciting. How's the skirt?
Oh my God. Hello, old friend.
It's not enough to survive. You've got to live.
Was that the Dalai Lama?
It's Harry Styles, I think.
You idiot. I can't cover for you. You left your horse outside. He'll know you're here.
But, Terry,
Oh, you're hysterical. What you need is a shot of damn whiskey.
he's on my trail. Either you swear that I've been here with you all morning, or I'll tell him everything. You gotta do it, Terry.
I'll send him to the sheriff, and that'll give you time to clear out. Mr. Allen. What's the meaning of this?
Step aside, Miss Hurley. You can hear all about it at the county seat. I'm taking Stalker to the sheriff for shooting Mattie. If she dies, he'll be charged with murder.
Murder?
This man's hurt bad.
Hurt. He's dead. Look at his face. You beat him to death. I saw everything. You'll hang for this, Alan.
He's not dead. I want to get him to a doctor.
You're not leaving this house until the sheriff comes.
Rex! You shot him.
He killed Mr. Stalker, and I'm going for the sheriff.
Don't let her go, Sam.
What are you doing? Let go of me! You can't get away with this. Let go of me!
I'll make it all right, Sam. How about Matty?
I don't know. I followed you here.
He's not dead, Slam. We gotta go get to the doctor. Right away.
Holy smokes, it's real. You can't go out there without your hat on. Think you're dead or be your wounded.
Not what I'm worried about now.
Terry, what are you doing in there? What's happened?
There was a fight, and Dusty's dead.
Where is he?
Well, it was Alan, and he took him to the doctor in the valley. Jan, we just can't let him know that Dusty isn't Stalker. We'd better go for the sheriff.
Hey, Rex, this guy Stalker's dead. It'll be a murder charge now.
Sure, I didn't hit him hard enough to kill him. Better get across that bridge before it washes out.
Yeah, before you lose too much blood, you fall off that little horse. Let's get to the valley before it gets pitch black.
There's nothing I can do for him. What he needs is a preacher. I sure wish people would stop shooting one another. I'm getting tired of taking out bullets. The one I just took out of Matty went straight through her shoulder and bounced off her rib and flattened itself against her arm bone. One time, though, it paid to be hefty. The bullet was spent by the time it got through those layers and layers. She'll be as good as new, though, in a few days. Now, hold still, Rex. I can't understand why Stalker'd want to shoot Matty. Well, at least I don't have to take a bullet out of you. It just left a nice, clean wound. I'll clean it out good, though, so there won't be an infection.
Hey, you're messing things up. Hold on, Mark, boy.
What do you think happened to Stalker keeling over like that? Well, without an autopsy, I can't say for certain. But a brain hemorrhage or a ruptured spleen may produce the same symptoms. Looked healthy to me. Oh, you can't always tell by that. He might have gotten a hold of some tainted food that poisoned him.
Ow!
Sorry, Alan.
It wasn't me, it was Slam. You darn tootin' it was me. Let go of there. Hey, Doc, you better take a look at this.
That's a long ways from your heart.
That's the man, Sheriff. Arrest him. I come here for the body of John Stalker. Where is it? All right, Dan, put it in the carriage.
Just a minute. Before anybody removes that body, I want Dr. Sawyer to perform an autopsy.
Our company doctor will do that, and I'll see that the sheriff gets the report.
She was the first one to come to me and claim the body.
I'll get permission from his relatives for the autopsy and send his remains to them.
Even though you killed him, Stalker'd still be alive today if we hadn't sent for him.
You mean if he was alive, he'd be in jail? Sheriff, this dead man shot Matty this afternoon. If I'm responsible for his death, it was in self-defense.
Self-defense. He came into my house and deliberately beat that man until he was dead. I'll swear to that in court. I was the only witness.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running. That's why at Grainger, we're here for you. With professional-grade industrial supplies and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The only witness.
I'm afraid I'll have to hold you, Alan. Ain't right, Sheriff.
All right, Dan.
Just a minute. I wanted personal effects.
That's funny. His head is so swollen I can't get this ring off. What'll I do, Doc?
Cut it off.
Oh, it's all right. It's broken. Let me have something to pry it open with. There it is. All right, you can have him now. Harry Hurley charged you with murder. We'll have to hold you for the result of the autopsy. How is his wound?
As good as new. You can take him to jail now if you'd like.
All right, hurry up with that shirt and come on.
It's my opinion that Allen's not responsible for that man's death. These lumbermen would do anything to stop anybody from helping the ranchers.
The bad blood that exists between the lumbermen and the ranchers has nothing to do with anything in this case.
We're evacuating the town, Doc. Water's rising right up to the top of the levee, and we need every man we can get to keep it from breaking through. And it's all your fault. You and your lumbermen. We were safe in this valley until you started cutting the trees. You've got to be stopped once and for all.
Come on, Dan, let's get back to the mill while we still have a chance to get to high ground.
Come on, Doc.
I want to help, Sheriff. You can trust me.
Me too. The water's as high as he says it is. We'll need every able-bodied man in the valley.
Get back to the ranch, Slim, and tell the boys. Maybe Jackie can help, too.
You won't need that.